welcome back for another breakdown video. For this week's breakdown video, we're going to dive into goal settings as we're going into the last breakdown video of this year. I want to give you some tips on how to create some realistic goals for the next year. So let's dive into this breakdown video. So when starting with goal setting, the first thing that we should do, so step number one, is of course think about some goals that we want to achieve for the next year. So it's very important that we make this goal measurable. Or else we're not able to see whether or not we have achieved the goal. If our goal is to get fitter, you need to be able to put a number to it and see whether or not you have increased your fitness. So instead of saying that I want to get more fit in 2022, because that's what everyone wants, it's more practical to say I want to achieve my first strict pull-up. So if you're not able to do your strict pull-up now, and you are able to do it by the end of 2022, then you can consider that you've increased your fitness over the past year. So once you've done that, once you've created a goal that is measurable, so like being able to do a strict pull-up by the end of the year, then we need to go into assessing your current capabilities. So you need to test what your current capabilities are right now. And then it's very important that you control the variables as much as possible every time you measure your capabilities. So let's say your goal is to increase your conditioning and you're going to do a workout with running and burpee box jump overs and thrusters and stuff like that, then it's important to do the test, let's say on a Monday, and the next time you do that workout, you do it again on a Monday. And let's say the first time you did not drink a lot of alcohol and eat a lot of junk food, then it's important that with the second test you also do the same thing. So you don't drink a lot of alcohol, you don't eat a lot of junk food, because that will impact the outcomes on the workout or on the test. So besides doing a test to see if your goal is measurable, you want to control the variables as much as possible. So this could go the other way as well. So let's say normally your fitness is around here, this is your basic level, and you've got sick, you have got coronavirus or something like that, and your fitness right now is at a lower point. Then when you will do the benchmark, so the workout, your results are lower than usual. You'll do the test again after a few months, and maybe you've increased somewhat above the average line or above your normal line, but in terms of results, it would look like it's a big result or a big jump, but it's basically just a slight jump over your regular fitness level. Then number 3 is a very, very important one. Once you've written down some of your goals, it's important to consider whether or not they are realistic. And this one deserves a mark. This is very important because a lot of times individuals' results will go up in the first few weeks that they started doing CrossFit. So they will go, let's make this a little bit bigger. So they will go up really quick, and then over time this will slow down a little bit. But because they have spent a lot of time in this section where they have grown a lot as a CrossFitter, they think that this line will continue to go on as they do more hours of CrossFit. This is not realistic to think that they will go like this. So this is a more realistic line of progress than this one. But a lot of individuals think that this line will progress onwards and that this is more realistic than that one. They will build their goals on top of this line instead of this line. So let's say they have a back squat of 130 kilos and the past year they have gone up with 20 kilos or something like that. It doesn't necessarily need to be realistic to say that the next year will also add 15 or 20 kilos. That's not realistic, because the line of adaptation will drastically decrease as we do more of the sport of CrossFit. We need to consider that whether or not the goals that we set are realistic. And this is really difficult to do. So what I would advise to do is to speak to your coach about this. So write a list and give this to your coach, because he knows what your current capabilities are, and he quite likely has some experience with other athletes that also went through the same process. Step number 4 is setting a time domain, or let's say in CrossFit terms, a cap, a time cap, to your goals. By the end of this year, or by 4 months, or the next 6 months, I want to increase this. You need to have a certain limit in order for it to work. Because if you just say like, yeah, I want to be able to do a pull-up whenever I'm ready, or I want to be able to do a muscle up in my life, because then you're not stimulated to put in the hours in the next few months or in the next few years to be able to achieve those goals. Then I'm not saying that when you've not made the deadline, so you're not able to do the pull-up by the end of next year, that you need to get depressed or something like that. Just switch up some things and try it again the next time, or add a few months. Things could happen. You could maybe get sick, you could maybe get into an accident and you're not able to train for a few months. We're not robots, so we need to adjust some things, but we could still adjust the deadline, adjust the goals maybe, and then achieve them either way. For CrossFit, it's important to be able to excel at different aspects of the sport. So we want to be able to do weightlifting, and we want to be able to do bodyweight stuff, and we need to be able to excel at conditioning stuff. So we need to do a lot of different things in order for us to be a better CrossFitter. And that's one thing that I see going wrong oftentimes, is that individuals specialize in one certain aspect of the sport and they ignore the other stuff. So they say, I want to be able to do a back squat of 150 kilos, I want to deadlift this, I want to bench press that, I want to have a snatch of 100 kilos and stuff like that, and all the fancy weightlifting stuff, and then they forget that they also need aerobic capacity, and they also forget that they need gymnastic stuff, because they are so fixated onto this weightlifting area. So it's very important that you don't neglect on the other aspects of the sport. Now, what could be the case is that you're an individual that has, let's say, a high aerobic capacity, so you're good at workouts or longer workouts, and you're good at doing gymnastics, for instance, but you suck at weightlifting. So that's really low. Then for a few weeks or a few months, you could focus on weightlifting a little bit, so to try to get this higher and to try and equalize that aspect in regards to the other aspects. Then you could focus solely on weightlifting, or then you could solely focus on gymnastics, if that would be the aspect that is lowest in regards to the other two aspects. But if you're already somewhat balanced out like this, then I would not advise to solely focus on one aspect if your goal is to increase your CrossFit capacity. So the goal is important, but it's more important to enjoy the process towards achieving the goal, so to enjoy your training. You don't need to kill yourself every time when you're in the gym to get those results. So guys, that's it for goal setting for 2022. I see you in the next year. Ciao.